Golf Central on YouTube, brought to you by the Chrome Soft Golf Ball from Callaway.
Hello, I'm Matt Adams, and this is your Golf Central update. Rory McIlroy wins his third FedEx Cup. McIlroy finished one shot ahead of Scottie Scheffler at the Tour Championship. McIlroy started the tournament 6 shots back of Scheffler. Sungjae Im, he shot at 67 or better in all 4 rounds to finish tied for second. Max Homa had the low round of the event. A 62 Friday helped him jump into a tie for 5th. But the week belonged to McIlroy. With more on McIlroy's win and a look back at the 22 season, here's Rich Lerner, Brando Chambly, and Mark Rolfing.
Brandon, I'll start with you. Was that the most consequential FedEx Cup finale in the 16-year history of the FedEx Cup playoffs?
Yeah, I'd say without a doubt, given that this has been by far the most controversial year in the history of the PGA Tour. You may say 1968 was certainly controversial, but that was I would say, a different issue. That was about sort of golf professionals versus professional golf. This was more about timeless fame and ridiculous money as a tug-of-war between sort of that and reputational laundering and generational money. And that tug-of-war has never been more palpable than the last few months. And it was palpable at the Tour Championship. And I think the PGA Tour put its best foot forward. I mean, you had 2 very popular, hugely successful stars going head-to-head, back and forth. And ultimately, Rory, who is, outside of Tiger Woods, the most popular player in the game, and arguably, given what he did with the Varden Trophy win, his 4th win, by the way, and the lowest scoring average anybody's ever shot outside of somebody named Tiger Woods, you could say arguably the best player in the world. I realize the world rankings show it to be Scottie Scheffler, but you're talking about 2 formidable players head-to-head on a great stage, culminating the most controversial year in the history of golf.
Rolf, we had a youth movement, although I think we say that pretty much every year. But the fact remains that all 4 major champions this year, and if you take the players as well, Cam Smith, were under the age of 30, and I believe that's the first time that has ever happened. What do you make of that?
I think it's a trend that's just going to keep continuing. The players at these young ages are so prepared when they come out on the PGA Tour. If you think about a guy like Tom Kim, he's been the youngest international player to win a tournament on the PGA Tour in 99 years of golf, or really anywhere in America for that matter. And you're just going to see more and more of that. And I really believe it's so much because of the vision, I believe, that the PGA Tour has had and the feeder system that they now have that gives people a path. There is a path to do what Rory McIlroy did today on the PGA Tour. For anybody that wants it, there is a path that you can do it, and that just can't be replaced.
Brandon, how about the biggest disappointment of this past year?
Look, you could say Rory losing the Open, or John Rahm looked like starting the year as the #1 player in the world might drop anchor and add some major championships to his record. But in general, I would just say it was the defectors to live. You know, that's the one that I think stung the most, because you're talking about some very popular and very good players that turned their back onto the PGA Tour, and some people would make the argument that they did it for very understandable reasons. And while the money is certainly understandable, the fact that they would align themselves with a regime with such a reprehensible human rights record, and by extension, I think, dirty up the professional game, I think that's a huge disappointment to professional golf. But golf, as Mark Rolfing just talked about, the PGA Tour, it has such a good feeder system, and it is so competitive. Just 2, 3, 4 years ago, there would have been no Sungjae Im or Scottie Scheffler battling it out, but the game produced them. They both came through the Korn Ferry Tour. They both got the maturation process completed there, came onto the PGA Tour and hit the ground running. So the game will give us more stars, and the game, I think, ultimately, through Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy working behind the scenes to create a better product along with Jay Monahan and the Tour staff, I think they've done exactly that. So in spite of the disappointments of the defectors, I think the Tour's come out stronger.
Rolf, we knew Scottie Scheffler could play. I mean, you go back to his junior days and, Korn Ferry Tour. He had success at every step of the way. But I don't think anybody saw this coming, this run to world #1. How about a player likely, or most likely, or even players, to do what Scheffler did this year and storm to number one? Do you think about maybe a Sam Burns or a Will Zalatoris? Which player comes to mind?
Well, certainly not Will Zalatoris. I'm really concerned about this injury. When you herniate 2 discs, that's a pretty serious injury. Hopefully, it's something that he can get behind him pretty quickly. But I don't see anybody in the near future doing what Scottie Scheffler did. That's just an amazing, remarkable feat, what he did. 42 days, going from not having won a tournament to number 1 in the world. And it's primarily because of all these young guys that we're talking about. I believe doing something like that is just going to get harder and harder as time goes on.
And Brandel, just to kind of reiterate a point you made on Sunday's show, Player of the Year this past season, you have sort of maybe a novel approach to this. Explain.
Well, look, it wouldn't surprise me if the 2 Player of the Year awards, the one for the PGA of America and the one the PGA Tour, were split equally between Rory or Scottie Scheffler, choose one or the other. But I think amongst the PGA Tour players, I think when they sit down, I think there might be an equal number of them that say, okay, maybe Scottie Scheffler did have the better year, but when you consider that Rory McIlroy put the PGA Tour on his back, and while doing that, managed to win in demonstrative ways, both at the Canadian Open and then at the conclusion of the year at the FedEx Cup, and what that would mean, not just in terms of this year, but to the future of the PGA Tour, I could see a lot of people putting a check in that box next to Rory McIlroy, and maybe for the first time ever. And again, this is a vote, so it gets tallied or whatever, but it would seem right if they split Player of the Year to me.
Rolf?
One of the saddest things about this entire LIV situation with the PGA Tour is the fracturing that's occurring and the sides that are being taken. Think about this. 2 weeks, Rory McIlroy is going to be going to the BMW PGA Championship in England. So are 17 of his very good friends, who, by the way, have defected to LIV. Normally, the FedEx Cup champion, like McIlroy, would go there and be totally embraced, hugs, congratulations, way to go. Is that going to happen? I don't know. Some of them may, but I think it's likely it's not. And that's a really sad thing for me.
Sport's never been as fractured as it is right at the moment, but Sunday, a reminder of why we love it, why we will continue to watch for great performances and improbable comebacks like the one engineered by the great Rory McIlroy. Matt?
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Elsewhere, Paula Rita held off a hard-charging Nelly Korda. For Rita, it was her first win on tour in her 157th attempt. As for Korda, she shot 68 and 67 over the weekend. It was her 5th top 10 finish on the LPGA Tour since returning from a blood clot in her arm. Korda also won the Aramco Team Series event last week on the LET. Not pictured is Danielle Kang, who played for the first time since June when she dealt with a tumor on her spine. She ended up tying for 17th. And a check-in with the PGA Tour champions where they were in Michigan for the Allied Challenge. Steve Stricker shoots a 5-under 67 for a one-shot victory over Brett Quigley. Stricker carded 4 straight birdies in the back 9. At one point, it was Stricker's 2nd win on tour this season. He also won the region's tradition back in May. And in case you missed it, really cool moment this weekend. On Saturday, after wrapping up his 2nd round, Brant Jobe drove to watch his son Jackson pitch for the West Michigan Whitecaps, which is the Detroit Tigers' High A affiliate. Jackson earned the win with 5 strong innings. That was our Golf Central update. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.